So there was something deeper that was going on in Judas' life to get him to the point that he did betray Jesus Christ. But the first suicide in the Bible was not Judas. Even the second suicide was not Judas. But the first suicide in the Bible was actually Adam in the book of Genesis. It was actually Adam. If you go back and you study the history of Adam in the book of Genesis, you will see exactly how I reached the point that I'm speaking about today. Adam died internally and spiritually, and then it eventually manifested physically. But he died first internally, inside. Inwardly, he died. Spiritually, he died. And then it was manifested outwardly. But suicide, people that are suicidal, it always kills them internally first. In other words, they get to an act before they get to the physical act. It don't just happen. They don't just wake up one day, oh, I want to die. They get to a point to where it done destroyed them so much internally that they just can't even live with themselves outwardly anymore. And they commit suicide. What this means is that a person can be dying internally, and if not recognized sooner rather than later, it will manifest in the natural, which is also known as the physical. This teaching will deal with 2 points. The first point is how to notice the signs that an individual is dying internally. And the second point is to contemplate the myth of a person who commits suicide will go to hell. So the first point is to notice the signs that a person is dying internally. That's the first point. You want to start to notice the internal signs. Don't worry about them visible signs yet. Worry about them internal signs, because if you can stop them internal signs, you can prevent the physical or the visible signs. But you got to target those internal signs that is going on in a person. So in order to do that, you got to know how to recognize them. And the second one is to learn about the myth of a person who commits suicide will go to hell. Now let's look at point 1. Point 1 says, God noticed that it was not good for man to be alone, so he created a helpmeet for him. I don't believe there is a person alive that likes being alone. Everybody in here wants somebody in their life, or they want somebodies in their life. Nobody likes to be alone. Many, such as myself, remember, I can't talk about nobody else without talking about myself. Many, such as myself, is what is called antisocial. Now, what is antisocial? Glad you asked that question. Antisocial is not sociable, not wanting the company of others. In other words, you don't like to be around people. You don't like to be at big events. You don't like to be in a group of people. You like to be isolated. That is an antisocial person. Now you think, well, ain't nothing wrong with that. Everybody wants them times where they want to be alone. Yeah, everybody needs them times where they want to be alone. Yeah, everybody needs those times. But an antisocial person is a person that is more isolated than being outgoing. In other words, their alone time is way more than a person should be alone. Okay, let's explain that a little bit deeper. Now, this is me. I'm talking about me. I'm being transparent here. I like to come to church to fellowship and worship with people. I like doing that. I like to come in fellowship. I like to teach. Y'all know that. I like to get up and I like to teach. I like to teach people what the Holy Spirit has shown me. Because when the Holy Spirit gives me something profound, I want other people to know it too. So that now we can do it together. Now, that will make you wonder, well, how is she antisocial if she likes to come to church, if she likes to fellowship and worship with people? Well, how in the world do that make her antisocial? I'm glad you asked that question. This is how. Now, from time to time, I like to interact with family and friends. I like to hang out with my family, my friends, people I feel comfortable with. I like to hang out with them from time to time to time. But one of the things that I noticed for me is that when the church will have an event, I will deliberately find something else to do so that I won't have to attend. Whenever the church has got some big function that's going on, I would either make sure I had to go to work, or if I didn't have to go to work, I had to go out of town. There was something I had to do so that I would not have to be in that big function that was going on. I made myself believe that I don't fit with the crowd, that I will only stand out. So little crowds, I was okay with. Big crowds, I wasn't trying to be around no whole bunch of people. So I would make myself invisible, literally. So I wouldn't have to be around a group of people, because I am what you would call antisocial. Now, didn't mean I didn't like them or respect them, but for some reason I could not bring myself to socialize in a gathering setting with them. And many of us is that way. Many of us is that way. One of the definitions of loneliness is the quality of being unfrequented and remote isolation. A person who is antisocial is a great indication of something more hurtful going on. Remember, I stated at the beginning of the teaching of the transition of destructive influence to becoming accessible to destructive behavior to the point of being subjective to destructive action. Now, influence, again, if you didn't hear it at the beginning, influence is the capacity to have an effect on the character, development, or behavior of someone or something, or the effect itself. If a person has a hard time socializing in a group of people at an event, etc., they will tend to become isolated, and the enemy will begin to influence their thought pattern, such as, you don't fit in. Someone will be there that you don't like, or that don't like you. You don't have the proper clothes to wear to blend in. So what I am indicating with these examples is that many don't know how to blend in, and society don't teach how to fit in. Let me say it one more time. People who are antisocial, they do not know how to blend in with society, and society don't teach you how to fit in with society. It's a double sword there. What I'm indicating is that society don't teach you how to be you, and how to be the best you, and how to appreciate you. Society don't teach you that. Now, the reaction to transition from the low end of the character pole to the high end. Now, we're dealing with the reaction part. And we're going to start with the low end, and we're going to transition to the high end of the pole. Now what I'm indicating is that a person who is antisocial, on the low end, they isolate themselves. Remember I told you, I said if it was a small group of people, I'm okay. I love being around a small group of people. I love to get up, I love to teach. But when there's a large group of people, I try to isolate myself. I don't want to be around a large group of people. So big events,